People were screaming and asking for help. Then we heard gunshots.
Parents were crying because their children were being abducted.
We thought they were looking for women. When they got to us, they burned our house and they abducted me.
But they threatened me. They said that if I didn't lie down, they would kill me.
The minute you step out of line, you are a dead woman.
I don't know if the drugs they were taking gave them the energy, but they will rape women all night, non-stop.
The first thing, they were abducted. The second thing, they were terrorized. Third thing, they were raped. And this was a systematic technique.
Physical suffering, we've had it. Mental, we've had it. There's nothing more you can do with us.
Targeting of women is not based on ethnicity, it's not based on religion, but it's actually based on the fact that they are women.
They born me in Moyamba district.
I was born in Moyamba district in a small town called Sembehon-Nestaka.
I'm old, 29
and I'm
years
29 years old.
I
first heard about this war in 1991. We saw people coming with their belongings to my town. They said they were fleeing the war. When they were asked to describe the perpetrators, they said they were rebels.
They say people didn't attack the town with guns.
They said that people were attacking with guns and then setting the whole village on fire. And they were stripping the women naked. I never imagined that the war would come to my town.
That time they would go and we social business there. They made that the school.
We went about our daily lives. We didn't know that this was only the beginning of a big war.
We believe that Sierra Leone has seen some of the continent's, and in fact the world's, worst human rights abuses being committed, and in terms of the incidence and prevalence, it's one of the most devastating human rights pictures in the world today.
I am 18 years old and I'm from the Cambia district. The RAF abducted me. They kept me for 10 months. When I came from the bush, I didn't have clothes, and I still don't have anything. I'm destitute. I'm not the same as I was before the war. I have really gone downhill in my life, so I don't feel good about myself.
At least 51% of the population is women, and they are the ones who have had the brunt of it. Our children come from war-affected, and we discovered they were very traumatized. They come here, and for a lot of them, they don't know anybody. They are kind of disoriented, and that physical displacement is symbolic of a mental state.
Fishes swim in the water clear. Fishes swim in the water clear.
I was living with my parents. I was 7 years old, and I was going to school.
Old 13, yeah.
I'm 13 years old now. The rebels were the ones who captured me. They beat me up, and they forced me to lead them to my schoolmates who they also captured.
The primary method of recruitment, characteristically, has been through abduction. So what happens is the rebels need a workforce, they need young fighters so that they go into a village and abduct primarily the young people. And included in that are women who are abducted to be sex slaves and to be the rebel wives, as it were. We characterize the violence against women, particularly sexual violence, as being widespread and systematic.
There was a specific operation called Operation Fine Woman carried out by the rebels. The combatants would go in households and take away most of the girls or women, and he will take her as a wife even if she's 12 or 13 years old.
I am 15 years old. I was very young when they abducted me. I was a little girl then. I was still a virgin. I don't feel good about myself. I feel badly about everything that has happened to me and to this country.
The worst hit are the teenage girls, ages 11 to 22 or 25, because they are the ones who really they don't escape being raped. The future of womanhood in Sierra Leone is in jeopardy. If 90% of our young girls, are destroyed psychologically like that, can you imagine? And every woman that stayed is somehow affected. And I don't think anybody escaped.
Hey Freedom, my name is Animetsiga, aka Animezo. Whenever I touch down Freedom, I listen to no other radio station but 98.1. What am I talking about? The biggest and the best, reggae democracy. Don't move your dial, the hottest station in the capital. Sing.
Oh yes, well, good morning and welcome to a morning's transmission today 8th May, year 2001. Members say we no go just wake in the morning, you can take power in your hand because democracy na the thing we want in this country.
When the war starts,
when the war started, we were confident that the Sierra Leone army soldiers will protect us.
So we'll not be facing the war will reach inside Moyamba. Whether people then come inside, I don't know where the place don't come, then go
1
back.
month after we saw the people who have fled to my town, we had completely forgotten about the war.
One day, the guys went on
On the day it was time to harvest the rice, we took our pans and we went to the farm. We carried our pots, fish, and sauce to cook for lunch.
We don't know more one night. Now we hear haladi.
One night, we heard a lot of screaming. People were screaming and asking for help. Then we heard gunshots.
They were shooting all over, and then we heard gunshots near us in the bush. They were coming right towards us.
There was total chaos in town. I got out of bed and ran outside. I took my child on my back. When I left everything, I followed all the other people who were trying to escape. You could hear people screaming, "Oh God, I have been shot. I can't find my children." And I said to myself, "God help me, God help me."
And me and my brother ran into the bush, but I lost him. He disappeared. And they were shooting and getting closer until they got to me.
The man, he only gone.
A man holding a gun called me. Then he captured me and put me in a truck. They said if I didn't come with them, they'll kill me.
We were in the bush for a very long time, and all that time my child was starving and crying. When he was crying, the others told me to move away from them because he was making noise. Then I pleaded with them and explained to them that he was hungry, and they finally gave me some food.
Now they give me small food. Now we get but now come inside the bush quick.
We stayed in the bush until one day the soldiers found us.
Now they appear away inside the bush. So now they put that gun.
And they held us at gunpoint. Then they lined us up and separated us into groups.
Then they put the mommy there, and they put them separately. They put the young
old women, the young boys, and the young girls.
Separately.
And they picked us one after the other and took us to do the cooking for them.
The big man from the place.
The boss told me that from now on, I was his wife.
After I was with them for a while, they told me to start carrying a gun. They said if I refused, they would kill me or bury me alive. They started teaching me how to use a gun. This training went on for over 2 years.
Although they are victims, they don't know, but they become perpetrators as well. These young people, from what they tell us, the first thing, they are so indoctrinated. Like the first one that steps out of line is shot in front of the other. So that just keeps all the others quiet. And they really, within a very short time, they really get them to conform.
There's also an element of trying to undermine the values of the society, and break taboos is a way of undermining the integrity of the society. You get cases of fathers and mothers being forced to watch the rape of their daughters, of young rebels as young as 11, raping women who could be their mothers and grandmothers. Things that are so brutal, it's sometimes difficult to hear and difficult to believe.
Now you don't see. I say, Mama,
the soldiers asked my mother to choose between her life and my life, and she chose mine. Then they said to her, since she has chosen her daughter, they will take me away. Then they shot my mom, and then shot my dad. They shot both of them in front of me, and then they abducted me.
Women have been specifically targeted for a number of reasons. Because they might be socially weaker, because the systematic rape is terroristic technique, very, very, very widespread in these as in other wars. And also because women have many purposes: cooking, laundering, being wives, being lovers, being childbearers.
It was nighttime. That's when they started. I said, please, I'm too young. I don't know about men. But they threatened me. They said that if I didn't lie down, they would kill me. I begged another woman to plead on my behalf because I was a virgin. Then they started raping me until I felt exhausted. I told them, but they refused to listen to me. Instead, they kept taking turns raping me. 3 of them were raping me that same night. They raped me non-stop all night until 6 a.m. Then they stopped.
They force you. When they use women,
The combatants rape women violently.
I don't know if
the drugs they were taking gave them the energy, but they will rape women all night, non-stop. This was the worst experience I've ever had in my life.
How has Sierra Leone become such a dangerous place? Our defence correspondent Kevin Dunn has this ITV Evening News briefing.
Sierra Leone should be relatively wealthy. It has extensive mineral reserves, including diamonds. But the years of civil war have squandered that. It's now officially the poorest country in the world. These are the rebels of Sierra Leone's Revolutionary United Front, the RUF. They're led by this man, Fode Sanko. Backed and armed by Liberia, the rebels now control most of the country's diamond mines, their trademark being the cruel mutilation of their victims, many of them children.
The Revolutionary United Front started from a group of students, and their intention was to change the political system because they were fed up with it. This group actually split sometime in the 80s. One section of it said that they had to go through the armed struggle. And Fode Sanko was mining diamonds when he was recruited to join the RUF.
I'm happy today to be with you as the leader of the Revolutionary United Front of Sierra Leone.
Later on, the whole military force, the whole army, decided to stage a coup, calling themselves the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council. And the guy who was leading it is Johnny Paul Kurma. He called in the RUF to come in and join him to form a government. And for 9 months, he controlled Sierra Leone. So it is like the AFRC was a regular army who went berserk and decided to become rebels.
When you look at other revolutions, like in Latin America, for example, they tried to work with the civilian population. But clearly, the RUF, from the very first operations that they launched into Sierra Leone in 1991, started typifying their behavior through abuses against civilians, because it's about exploiting the wealth of the diamonds and natural resources of Sierra Leone. And civilians are not damaged and abused as a part of collateral damage. It is intended. They are the enemy.
They called me Captain. They gave me the nickname Captain C.O. Bobby because I was wicked.
Yes, be wicked. They boil coffee.
In the evenings, they'll boil coffee and take a white powder and inject it into the coffee.
And then we don't drink it, they get mad.
After you drink it, you become brave and feel like doing bad things.
They say, okay.
They will say to me, okay, go. You're going to Fanta. That means to kill or do bad things.
If you get beled,
when they found a pregnant woman, they will bet on the sex of the baby. And then they will slit the woman's belly. If it was a boy, they will leave the woman. But if it was a girl, they will kill the woman right away. Then they will kill the baby.
The targeting of women is not based on ethnicity, it's not based on religion, as in other conflicts, Yugoslavia and Rwanda and so on. But it's actually based on the fact that they are women.
We thought they were looking for women, but other people were saying they were cutting hands off and burning houses. So I was afraid that they would cut my hands off. When they got to us, they burned our house, and the RUF abducted me. They didn't call each other by their real names. They had nicknames. Like Alaji Basta Pikin, Killman No Blood, Ginger Rebel. While we were traveling, they raped me. It wasn't just the RUF. We were also with some AFRC soldiers who had abducted children. We met and cried together. We all wanted to return home.
They didn't harass the other girls for sex as much as they harassed me. I told them that I would have preferred to be killed with my mother, and they should have killed all 3 of us at the same time. They said no, they wouldn't have killed me because they wanted me since I was very young.
Nobody was abducted during our own time. I mean, we see no reason why we should abduct people. Why? I'm a well-trained soldier. I know what is the law of war. I know what the Geneva Convention says about armed conflict. So I cannot see myself giving orders against civilians. That's not possible. I think that question goes for the RUF, because they are the ones who abduct women, a lot of people. So I can best throw that question to them.
99% of those soldiers that were involved in those attacks are soldiers of Johnny Paul Kuroma. I saw them, I spent some time with them. I will never deny to you that RAF have not been involved. But the type of appalling atrocities they are talking of, I will deny on behalf of RAF. To some extent. To some extent. On the part of women, I'm in a bit doubt. To say RAF is having a woman with him, keeping him, per se, under adoption, I wouldn't deny it, and I will never agree to it. There are women who join the RAF willingly, who are trained as combatants. They are with the RAF. There are some certain stages they are just propagating to you people.
It's all relative, who is better than the other one. All of them are bad, but some are more than the others. So all I know is that the RAF damaged this country tremendously. This war has nothing to do with anything of any meaningful significance to anybody whatsoever. It's all a war about greed.
The first thing, they were abducted. The second thing, they were terrorized. Third thing, they were raped. And rape can happen in many ways. Some girls have been raped by a single man, normally a commander. Some girls have been gang raped. Some girls have been raped once. Most of them have been raped for many times. Some of them have been forced to become wives to fighters or to commandos. And although some of them have got used to that kind of life, that is still rape. They were forced to it, and they were forced to that kind of life.
The man who had me liked me so much that he wanted me to be with him wherever he went. The reason why I escaped was because I was subjected to having sex with him all the time. And I'm just a child. He was much older than me. And I was scared.
The rapes have occurred. It has not been done by me, per se. It has been by fighting combatants in the country. We are not 100% perfect. There are some who may like to take advantage of the gun they are having. I have always told them that in terms of war, we expect these things to happen. But what we have told them quite frankly is that any woman who identifies any RAF soldier that have raped her, that soldier will never go free.
If you acted like you were happy to be with them, they will let you move freely. And that's how I gained their confidence. Whenever I went to collect firewood, I would go further than I had the previous day, until I was really sure that they were not following me. The day I decided to escape, I put my child on my back. And when I left camp, I just kept going to the next town.
They left us to do the cooking while they went fighting, and that's when we escaped.
I met a soldier. He said if I had grown up, he would have killed me.
I told him that I wanted to return home, and I asked him to help me, and he said he would take me to Freetown.
In fact, I don't even understand.
When we got to Freetown, I didn't even recognize it.
We went on the radio, we went on television, announcing, if you have been raped, come out and let us do something about it. And for 2 weeks, nothing happened. The third week, we had the breakthrough when 2 girls came in. And the next day, I think we had about 6. And on the third day, you couldn't skip the gates here. You wouldn't believe that we had served over 2,000 children, just here in Freetown. But what about the areas where they've been for 10 years?
We were not taken by surprise, but this doesn't mean that we were not shocked. You would see hundreds of girls coming to the hospital, finding them, most of them had an STD, most of them were seriously traumatized, and most of them were pregnant. 90% of those above 12 years of age had been raped. Some women had their buttocks cut or their breasts cut, or cases of objects inserted in the genital organs, and so on and so forth.
The child soldiers, as well as the guys that come in, are being screened. Because these people are a source of HIV infection. Then what's going to happen to that woman who comes out of there? And that girl is going to reproduce. There are so many children. They are products of war sex. You see, what I'm saying is the easy disappearance of this group in the populace. Nobody's going with this written at the back that I was raped. This is one medical problem that we're going to have when all is over in this place, besides the psychological effect on the women.
There are 4 of us in the same room. I am the 4th one, because when I came, 3 of them were already staying together. We are like sisters.
How they eat, how they wear one clothes, how they do everything.
We sleep in the same room, we eat together, we do everything together. And we also hustle together. We all put in money to buy food. We cook and eat, and we go downtown at night. I do sex for money. When men approach me, they ask how much, and I tell them. And if they say okay, we go inside. That is what I do until I get 5, 6, 10 men a night.
I was 8 years old.
I was 8 when I was abducted. 11 when I escaped. And now I'm 15.
Can you imagine a virgin being raped? Somebody who has no knowledge or only heard about sexual relationship by word of mouth, or has never been approached by a man. And if that girl has lived with rebels, she has been used to this multiple sex, multiple partners. Here now that somebody talks to her nicely, civilized, and pays her for her duties, it's quite a different thing. But now you see, she's not in any fear. She's doing it willingly. I think the psychological part of war is worse than any injury you get during the war.
I remember I was
traumatized by my experience in Bush. I cried and thought of the opportunity I had lost, on top of the fact that I was pregnant. The regular schools don't accept pregnant girls. That is why I decided to join FAWE. Some people label girls as rebel wives, or they say you have an RUF child.
Some of the hospitals they are working with, some of the nurses there.
Even at some hospitals we go to, nurses make remarks like, honestly, if it was up to me, if a rebel wife comes to this hospital, I would not even touch her. That word, rebel, is a very bad word.
Sometimes think I sit on a form and cry.
Sometimes I sit in class and cry. My friends ask me why I'm crying.
They tell them, say nothing.
I say
They say,
nothing.
happy, they cry, I say nothing.
Then they will try to make me feel better and tell me to put everything in prayer.
Now I say, well, I give me reason.
But I say that I have my reasons for crying. It's not easy to have a child at my age. I want to have a better life because if I complete the course I'm doing now, I'll be able to get a job and support my child and mother and father.
People don't provoke me because people they want to see how they live, how they do.
So that I won't be anyone's laughing stock. Because people are watching to see how my life is unfolding.
At times, some people there, they can feel say now your own will. You go there.
Some people think that you stay with the rebels out of your own free will. Some people understand that it wasn't your fault, but others think that you just didn't try to escape. So when someone says something to you, you feel ashamed and very hurt.
Some guests showed the signs of acute post-traumatic distress syndromes, acute consequences of sexual abuse, such as psychological trauma, acceptance from the part of the families to accept these girls back is not as automatic as we might think. If you have a child that is a result from rape, he will stay with you. Rape is a wound or a scar that might never heal, and we know that very well.
So even like girls that we've worked with now for about 3 years, we are now really getting to the bottom level of the problem. The majority of us are trying to survive, get the physical needs, you know. It's when, okay, now you can have your daily bread, then the psychological thing begins to surface. In the long term, I think we should really be focusing on this psychological internal healing.
When he starts firing at the target, then you move.
We are very, very appreciative of what the British have done for us. They are the ones that are retraining our army. We are much more prepared now than we have ever been before. It's a war they will not win. Likewise, the United Nations has been very helpful to us, trying to bring about peace in this country. And that is why we keep on saying to the RAF, come and join us to rebuild this country. Put down your guns, put down your arms, come and join us. It will be in our own best interest to do that. We have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that's going to be established very shortly, that will deal with people who were perhaps forced into committing some of these crimes, but who are now willing to come out and say, I'm sorry for what I did. I want you to forgive me. Similar to what took place in South Africa. And of course, we have the special court that's also going to be set up to deal with people who committed the most heinous of heinous crimes. This is the only way we can move forward.
Sexual crimes against women are clearly as serious as in the former Yugoslavia or Rwanda, where there have been international criminal tribunals and where sexual violence have been key issues. And we're clearly seeing the war spilling over into Guinea and then reigniting in Liberia. And some of the same types of abuses that have typified the Sierra Leonean conflict are now being perpetrated in those countries as well. Unless the message is received loud and clear that these abuses will be punished, that they are unacceptable, then we're afraid that they will just continue for decades.
You must wait for peace. You must wait for peace.
I was the only person that have apologized openly on behalf of my men, and nobody else had done that. All what we should be talking about is reconciling the people, not talking about special courts, this, that, reconciling the people. It's only now they are holding people for crimes against humanity during the Second World War. So why will you want to come and set up a court for a war that is still going on? It's like prolonging the war. We are not against it, but not at this point in time.
We do not welcome idea of special court. We have made our position clear to United Nations, but we cannot be in any shape to block it. All parties have committed atrocities in one way or the other. Let the court be open, an open court. Let the victims give their own evidences, identify their perpetrators. I know all parties to this conflict have been adopting children. We have ours and we'll be releasing them. We've opted to do that because they are the future leaders of this country.
I don't want to go back to McCain because I have no one there to take care of me. There is no life for me there, so I want to stay in Freetown. I like to see them punished for killing my parents. I don't feel good about everything that has happened to my parents. Some days I cry and I pray to God to send both of them to heaven.
I haven't tried to go home to find my parents. I don't know if they're dead or alive. For now, I live with Auntie Lima. I give her the money I make selling matches. She feeds me and gives me money to buy soap for my laundry. When I think of what we were doing in the bush, I don't feel good. And I never want to do those things again because what we were doing was bad.
Imagine you are part of a village or a community that had been devastated by combatants. Most of them are children. And then people come to you and say, look, these are your children, you have to take them back. How people would feel in the community. If there is not a real reconciliation process, admitting the guilt, elaborating the guilt, there will be no healing. It will be like a plaster put on an open wound that will just get worse with time.
The court will give satisfaction, but it may not heal the society. But how do we sit down as neighbors? No criminal court can do that. If we're looking for society to be healed, we need to use traditional channels. And we discovered there was a process called mediation that women use in peacemaking and peace building. Traditionally, we want to get into the schools with it in this education. We think we need it countrywide for our children.
Oh Lord thy gods, they are the hands of men. You are the Holy One. There is none like you. After 2, 3 counts, you begin. 1, 2, 3. Oh Lord thy gods, they are the hands of men. You are the Holy One. April.
I gave birth to Hindolo in April 1997.
I don't pass through that one day. I don't can hold me heart.
I was able to gather courage and do skills training at Fairway, and now I'm a teacher here.
I don't become a teacher again at the same institute.
Women have suffered greatly.
Physically,
they have suffered physically, they've had to protect the children, they suffer from violence, and sexually they have suffered.
Like the one day, what they don't do with it, what no more money,
When it comes to the perpetrators who have put us through all of this, what hurts the most is the fact that they don't show any remorse for what they've done, and they want to be told that they have the right to do what they did. And they've been given a lot of opportunities. Like our neighbors, they were given pigs to rear, and some of them have been sent for training, even though they are the perpetrators.
The winner waited so far, they don't get a chance. You see? Only a few, the one elect.
Only a few of us victims have been given assistance.
I know they feel fine.
Even now, I don't feel good because of what I've gone through, and I never expected my life to turn out the way it has.
I know they believe for say it will meet me. We no want to let them punish them, let them left them. Because we're not a Christian.
I don't want them punished because I'm a Christian, and I don't believe in tit for tat.
Let them left in guilty conscience.
Let us leave them to their guilty conscience.
Most of our men are now dead, especially the young people. Our girls and women going back to their villages have to rebuild. They need these skills to give them a place back in their society. And that does something for her, because having been raped, that lack of confidence that she feels, now her dignity is being restored. And then she can be part and parcel of the building, the national building, both literally building and symbolically rebuilding the nation. Women are now mobilizing, right, and now getting a common voice. Well, we've had enough, so now we want a change, and we're going to work for the change. I think that is one good thing that has come out of the war. As the war ends and we going into the future, I would see more and more. I can see the age of emancipation of women in Sierra Leone. So I'm hopeful for the future of women in Sierra Leone.
All this while I don't go, I say I must achieve something. And I say I don't achieve.
With all that I've gone through in this war, I want to achieve more than I have already, because we cannot change what has happened.
If you did now,
because if we let the war keep us from moving on with our lives, we'll even do more harm to ourselves than the war has already done to us.
I want to find other ways of making money. I would like to do the petty trading I was doing back home, and go back to school and quit the life I'm living now.
I pray for forgiveness for all the bad things we were doing in the bush. All I pray for is forgiveness.
Anyone whose child has been in this war, forgive your children. Try to live in harmony with them. Don't hold a grudge against your children. We're all one and the same people. If bad luck befalls your neighbor, remember that it may be your turn the next time.